This brief legal disclosure is required for access to the additional resources available at the conclusion of this video. The purpose of this disclosure is to notify the public about ongoing efforts to suppress the treatment options offered through our organization. These treatment options, available only at our 110-acre facility located in the Caribbean, have been the subject of unrelenting attacks by several pharmaceutical-backed media groups since 2013. In 2016, our organization hired a Russian-based security firm to investigate the source of significant cyber attacks against our organization. We now have documented proof regarding a well-orchestrated effort funded by two large pharmaceutical companies and initiated by a New York media firm specializing in disinformation campaigns. This effort involves direct attacks against 16 large, non-conventional organizations similar to ours. Our treatment protocols are now supported by referring doctors in 18 countries. As the largest non-conventional program of our type, we are a logical target for medical suppression. This conspiracy against our protocol includes a vast network of forums, websites, such as Rational Wiki, blogs, physician and university groups, representing a formidable network of media resources designed to silence non-orthodox views and dissenting opinions that run contrary to the established views of conventional oncology. Over the past year, the New York Media Group has supported attacks against our organization, its founders, affiliates, members, and associates through the following means. 1. Deleting, modifying, misquoting, and fabricating information about our treatment protocol, its founders, affiliates, members, and associates. 2. Obstructing research with 3 separate universities. 3. Dissemination of rumors. 4. Posing as patients in forums, social media, or other internet venues. 5. Filing formal complaints with government agencies. The philosophical justification for this attack is that our protocol is pseudoscience and has to be stopped for the good of the public. And yet the organization has contacted 3 major universities performing studies on our methods and successfully impeded the studies in 2 of the 3 universities in an effort to suppress the very scientific data they claim we lack. Those watching at a distance are left to question and judge the underlying motives of this despotic and shameful operation. We have provided legal reviews and point-by-point rebuttals addressing the vicious falsehoods. These legal reviews are available on our main website.
The doctors that initially diagnosed me said that it was a death sentence, that there was no hope, that I was going to die.
I said, "What's going on with me?" And he said, "It could be lights out any minute."
It's a tragedy that so many people are just sent home to die that have absolutely no idea that there's a better option available for them.
My wife was diagnosed with stage 4 small cell carcinoma of the ovaries. And they were told me that she had no hope of living.
I was very afraid.
The World Health Organization estimates that 84 million people will die from cancer over the next 10 years. That is slightly larger than the population of Germany, and just shy of the combined casualties of the First and Second World Wars. And yet, despite proclamations of progress, America's war on cancer is failing, notwithstanding the best conventional medicine has to offer.
And I said, "Well, what's my, odds? What's the possibility of beating this?" He was an old pulmonologist, and he said, "I've never seen anyone beat it."
I had a loving family, a husband, a baby girl, and I wasn't going to die because they told me I was dying.
The doctors gathered around me and told me that she had less than 72 hours to live.
As the death toll continues to rise and promises of progress lay shattered among the people, many are finding new hope and an opportunity to reclaim their health.
The medical culture is hyper-focused on health care. Our protocol is focused on health restoration.
So the doctor recommended us to hospice. So I started hospice 2 days later. And I'm a member of hospice now.
And here I'm a year later. A year is a long time with my condition of stage 4 lung cancer. And so they told me at Huntsman Cancer Clinic, I'm now 1 in 1,000, and I'm out of the textbooks. They haven't seen anything like this.
The doctors were really surprised that the cancer, the tumors are stable, and a few of them have been showing signs of necrosis, which is never heard of with the type of cancer that I have.
My oncologist came to me and said we may be experiencing the first total remission of small cell carcinoma of the ovaries in history.
While these stories may seem incredible, they are not entirely rare. A medical breakthrough is emerging, a revolutionary discovery that has spread to more than 22 countries in less than 2 years, creating in its wake a new paradigm in how we view cancer. This paradigm has a surprising history that spans more than 80 years. By the 1930s, the work of 3 scientists nearly altered the course of human health forever. Contemporaries Royal Rife, William Koch, and Georges Lakhovsky had each independently validated the cause and cure of several diseases, including cancer, through the use of radiofrequency, magnetic fields, and nanotechnology.
The period between 1920 and 1940 was sort of a medical renaissance. You had a handful of scientists that had collectively cracked the code behind the root cause of most of the major diseases. At the time, they didn't comprehend exactly what it was that they had discovered. Today, we know it as mitochondrial dysfunction.
We've known, and there's phenomenal research to support that cancer is a metabolic disease resulting from altered mitochondrial functioning.
I look at mitochondria as being the powerhouse of the body. Quite honestly, it is what supplies us with our energy and our oxygen in our body. All of our cells need that in order to function. If they don't have it, then they do not function well, and we come up with a dysfunction then.
Going back to Otto Warburg, 1905, for heaven's sakes, it said that all cancer cells have disturbed mitochondria. So any way that we can guide this mitochondria back to full functionality and good health certainly has to be a big boon in our war against cancer.
Koch, Rife, and Lakhovsky understood this principle, even if they didn't have the terminology to describe it. Mitochondria had not been discovered by the mainstream at this point. It is therefore not surprising that Dr. Willard H. Dow, head of the Dow Chemical Company, estimated that the work of William Koch, for instance, was at least 100 years ahead of his profession, and that the medical community of his day was incapable of comprehending the significance of his work. Less than 2,000 miles away, the University of Southern California had just concluded a clinical trial in which Dr. Rife's radiofrequency treatment demonstrated an 86.5% cure rate in late-stage cancers. And on November 20th, 1931, 44 of the nation's most respected medical authorities honored Royal Rife with a banquet celebrated as the end to all disease.
These men were responsible for collectively curing about 1 million cases of cancer during this period. You had 4,000 doctors in North America using the protocols. You had 2,000 to 3,000 doctors in Europe using the protocols. The face of history could have forever been changed. But anytime you have revolutionary discoveries, you have opposition knocking at the door.
William Koch was harassed by the government for nearly a decade. The Supreme Court of Massachusetts referred to this suppression as a moral crime of the very worst kind. In spite of being found not guilty of any crime, he was rigorously persecuted and eventually forced to flee the country, never to return. Rife also became the victim of endless unjustified lawsuits, which ended his work and left him penniless. Finally, George Lakhovsky, while performing clinical trials in New York, was hit and killed in a mysterious hit-and-run accident. Labs were burned, and surviving technologies were confiscated by the FDA until their work had all but vanished. Nearly 40 years after the death of Georges Lakhovsky, Dr. Dwayne Smith, the researcher behind the BX, made an amazing discovery.
During my early 20s, I became completely obsessed with the study of old texts, particularly the history of science. If you knew of a place that had old dusty books, that's where I'd be. During the summer of 1991, I was rummaging through the shelves of books at a used bookstore, and I ran across a book that impacted me in the most unusual manner. You could call it metaphysical, you could call it spiritual, whatever, but it was unlike anything that I'd ever experienced.
The book, Cancer and Its Allied Diseases was written by Dr. William Frederick Koch in 1929 and provided the impetus that would shape every aspect of Dr. Smith's investigations over the next 2 decades.
What I began to realize was that most of the major scientific contributions over the past 100 years were made by people that I had never even heard of. George Lakhovsky, Royal Rife, Virginia Livingston Wheeler. There were many others that were doing absolutely amazing things, and their work could have resolved most of the medical dilemmas that face our world today. But we chose another path, to our own detriment.
I did chemotherapy for a year, almost a year, and they came back and told me that I was going to die and that there was nothing else that they could do for me.
And then that's what they diagnosed me with. Stage 4 lung cancer beyond treatment.
They told me they could do surgery, but if they did surgery, she would have to wear a colostomy bag and that she would still die because they couldn't get all of the cancer out.
For decades, we have believed that the pharmaceutical industry is out to find a cure. We have spent billions of dollars over decades, ostensibly to find a cure. But the pharmaceutical industry is never going to find a cure.
The paradigm today is kill the symptom, give a chemical, and it's the greatest Ponzi scheme the world's ever known, because if you suppress a symptom with one chemical, you will get 2 or 3 more symptoms that have to be suppressed with yet more chemicals, and so on. So you see, just follow the money trail to know why we're in the system we're in today.
It's not like the pharmaceutical industry is out to get you, okay? This is not a conspiracy. The fact is that they rely on longevity of treatment to sustain their profit model, and at a cost of $800 million to bring a drug to market, I guarantee you they can't afford a cure. It'd put them out of business.
22% of the gross national product comes from pharmaceuticals. All that money comes from drugs that treat symptoms. Your pharmaceutical industry isn't going to save you. The money isn't in health. The money's in sickness.
The irony of it is that the pharmaceutical industry has created a window of opportunity for Delta's health restoration model. People want meaningful results. People are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Delta describes the BX protocol as the rebirth of former discoveries combined with modern delivery capabilities. Delta's Technologies Division has developed multiple health restoration technologies available to members only. It is available on either a home program or at the Health Restoration Resort in Cancun, and soon others around the world.
The BX protocol is literally a new paradigm in medicine. It's unlike anything you've seen before. It's not pharmaceutical, it's not nutraceutical, it's not homeopathy, and in many ways it challenges the conventional wisdom. And that's part of the reason why it's working.
Unlike conventional treatments, the BX produces its effect by correcting the dysfunctional machinery within the cell. In contrast to mainstream treatments, which rely on crude cytotoxic effects that damage both diseased and normal cells, the BX actually improves cellular performance within the general cellular landscape.
Most conditions, including cancer, are not localized diseases. You can cut it out, you can burn it out, you can poison it out. But you're still left with a systemic condition, which in the majority of cases is actually exacerbated by the allopathic approach.
That's where the BX is fundamentally different. We're not carpet bombing the condition. We're impacting the surface of the genetic material in a way that we're completely restoring the oxidative mechanism of the cell.
According to a study conducted at Utah State University, non-small cell carcinoma cell lines were profoundly impacted by BX within the first 90 days of the study.
This is the BX treatment at 90 days, and you can see there are clearly, noticeably fewer cells in this well. So we're starting to really, by 90 days, see a diminishment of growth capacity and the number of cells remaining when we treat with BX in this case. It's definitely having a very strong impact, and not on the normal cells, just on the non-small cell carcinoma cells. I just see so much potential for this because it is so different from any other toxic agent or anything else I've tried to treat cancer cells with.
Well, the morphology studies weren't really a surprise to us because oncologists in mainland China clinically were already seeing these results.
One oncologist in mainland China performed pre- and post-treatment biopsies on 4 breast cancer patients using BX. After 120 days, all 4 cases demonstrated a change in the tissue from malignant to benign status, confirmed through pathological examination coinciding with the university study regarding the corrective nature of the BX energy catalyst. The results were so impressive that the Chinese Academy of Sciences, in early 2015, initiated efforts to implement clinical trials and approved the BX energy catalyst for widespread use in mainland China. Similar efforts are underway in several countries.
We've seen similar results across almost every type of cancer to date, but here's the deal. It works so well across the full spectrum of pathologies that it would be virtually impossible to pursue drug classification. It costs billions and billions of dollars. It may be okay for us to pursue drug classification in some countries, and we are, but in the vast majority of cases, we've decided to offer it to the world as a supplement and not a drug.
Because of its unique mechanism of action, the BX protocol is a powerful tool in restoring health across a broad range of conditions.
And when I started, I was 2 feet in the grave and 1 hand at the edge. Doctor told me I could die any minute.
I go to my oncologist a couple weeks ago, a new oncologist, and I ask him, how's it going? He says, I've never seen anything like this. He says, your tumors are dissolving and disappearing. Your blood work is normal. You're, as far as I can tell, healthier than half the staff here.
I was extremely sick and just exhausted. I couldn't take care of myself. I couldn't take care of my baby. And now I'm so grateful because with this treatment that I'm on now, I have the energy to take care of my babies.
My wife was in the ICU unit. I had told me she had less than 72 hours to live, and within 24 hours of getting her shot of BX, miracles happened. She started turning around, and the doctors were flabbergasted. They couldn't understand what the heck was going on.
These stories are markedly impressive when one considers that a large percentage of Delta's enrollments originate from individuals that are classified as terminally ill, so-called end-of-life cases, bringing a whole new meaning to Delta's bold mantra of health restoration.
A year ago, 15 months ago, I was bedbound, not able to do anything in a normal life. Today, I have a normal lifestyle. I can do all the things pretty much that I did before. And going through and using the BX protocol is what gave me the success and the victory of where I am today.
My tumors are completely gone. The one that was 4 by 2.5 inches, completely gone. The smaller ones, maybe about an inch around, they're about 4, they're all gone. So the large one on my thigh, probably 3.5 inches across and round and very tall, completely gone.
This skin lymphoma, this cutaneous lymphoma, has diminished, I'd say 75%. I also had a skin lymphoma here, smaller than this one, but definitely substantial. And it's flat.
The swelling has gone down almost back to normal on the left side, and a small tumor that I had up near my armpit there has all but disappeared.
I have no signs of cancer now. My CAT scans are all clear. The treatment from Delta was, the BX was very successful.
My prostate ultrasound was completely normal and free of cancer.
I have no signs of any cancer at all at this point in time.
I've had a lump in my breast for over 3 years, at least 3 years. And I've been at the Delta Institute for 5 weeks now, and it's gone. I can't find it at all anymore, so I think it's gone. Very good.
I have seen BX produce dramatic changes in a wide range of conditions. Chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, cardiomyopathy, cancer.
Knowing what I know now with the BX protocol and the experience that I've had in the patients that I've seen, in a word, I would say the BX protocol is simply revolutionary.
I've given the BX to a variety of different patients, cancer patients, patients with goiter, pulmonary fibrosis, autism, and all of them have gotten better. 100% have gotten better.
I went from hospice with weeks to live to preparing for a half a marathon. I went from hospice with, waiting around to die on morphine to jumping out of an airplane and skydiving. And I went from hospice to a whole new world of health and energy. I don't know if people get that.
We get to go to soccer games with the kids. I'm well enough to do more hands-on things, and I feel very grateful that I have that gift. And my son, I got to see him go on his first day of school and to be there when he got home. And I was healthy and I was strong.
In 6 weeks, the same doctor that told me my wife was going to die wrote on her discharge orders, continue BX protocol, because that's the only thing that saved her life.
We spend time together and it's priceless, and it's more than I could ever ask for, because that's what it's about. That's what I wanted to. That's why I've been fighting so hard to live, is so I can have those moments with my babies.
It's like a whole new world beginning again. And it's exciting to begin again. Every day I do an extra mile as a victory.
The BX protocol is showing unprecedented results in about 41 different areas. You take that, you combine it with the other proprietary technologies that we've developed, and you have the potential for a revolution in healthcare around the world. Our home program, combined with our health restoration resort model, is the future of medicine. It's a vital paradigm shift from healthcare failure to successful health restoration.